Well, hello ladies and gentlemen. Apologies in advance for the crappy quality in this video. I'm in a bit of a pinch. I know my camera is right over there, but I don't have time. The battery's dead. So I wanted to get out a video quickly of Season 8, Episode 3 of Fear the Walking Dead because I just finished watching it. I have some thoughts and we're going to get into them as quickly as possible in this video. So, to start things off, let's just break down the episode really quickly. The episode opens essentially with Madison in the chair that Finch was in the previous episode, and she has this silly walker head coming at her, about to bite her, but out of nowhere, Mo and Odessa, a character that we've met earlier on in the season, they come in just to save the day in the nick of time, which, as to how they found the train, I don't even know. I don't know how no guards were guarding the train, but anyway, Madison's about to get bit, and just like in classic Fear the Walking Dead style, Odessa and Mo just come right at the nick of time and save Madison. But of course, Shryke is there, and of course some of the other people are there and around, so they stop her, but they don't stop the entire thing. Essentially, Odessa and Mo get captured by Shryke, and the whole episode is them going back to Padre. But while that all is going on, we have flashbacks of the early days of Padre. So this is really the introduction to how this facility was set up, who Padre is, which we learn in this episode. And we also see some familiar faces. So as they're on their way back from the train to Padre's base specifically, we run into a group of mothers and fathers who are looking for their children, and of course they hold up Madison, Shryke, and the kids, and out of nowhere, through the dust, Dan Salazar appears. Hey Dan, what? So, I don't know. I have no problem with the fact that Dan's back because honestly, it's great to see him specifically back with Madison, but of course it felt like a Fear the Walking Dead cheesy moment. The introduction was just like, built up in this cheesy way, almost looked like he was about to like tip the hat and be like, well, hello there. Like it was just, honestly, it was really goofy, but the fact that they were back together was fantastic to see. You got a little bit of them catching up in this episode, and eventually we learn, while the episode continues, we learn what Padre is. And we do so because the whole point is when these two groups collide, when it's the mothers and fathers and they meet up with Shryke, essentially Madison's trying to bridge the gap and be like, Padre isn't what it's meant to be. I could show you. Let me get these files so we can find out who your kids are. All of that stuff. So that's kind of the whole point of the episode. Okay, so as I'm editing this episode, I forgot to mention that a big plot point in that part is the whole thing with Odessa. So the episode kind of focuses on Odessa as well as Shryke and things like that, but Odessa specifically wanted to know who her mom was. Really, it was Madison being like, I could show you who your mom is, because she was trying to get Odessa specifically to conform or, come to the good side and not be with Shryke in that group. So along the way, it is revealed that Madison killed Odessa's mom, who was in Season 7, Episode 16. The first introduction of Madison back on that show. It was that lady that died that was trying to find her kid. Turns out it was Madison all along that took Odessa and got her mom killed, essentially. So that was a pretty interesting plot twist as well. Forgot to mention that in this video. And as it's going on, you have these intertwining stories of Shryke in the early days and her brother and her father. At the very start, we see the facility being built. And what I did like about this is it kind of tied into the early days of Fear the Walking Dead, where we saw a lot of the military groups. It kind of brought the story back to that period of time where the military was taking over and helping people and all of that stuff. So I thought that was really nice to see. And we got that set up where the father was essentially naming the kids bird names because it's a military code. And we got to see a little bit of that overall with like why they were setting it up, why Padre specifically and that island was a good spot because of all the supplies they had, and the military was going to set up the base there and all of that stuff. But essentially what we came to learn throughout the episode is the military somehow got overthrown by walkers, if I'm understanding correctly. They got overthrown by walkers in the dumpster area, or the where all the cans are. I don't know what you call them, but they got overthrown. So Shryke and Shrike's brother have to go, save the day or whatever. And so Shryke goes to follow her brother. And it turns out her brother runs into her father. Her father tries to save the two of them, and he gets killed in the process. So it's just Shryke and Shrike's brother now, and all of the military that was supposed to be setting up Padre is left alone. Turns out a lot of the military was fathers. So a lot of the kids on the island of Padre, they're fatherless now, and I guess motherless, which I didn't think made too much sense, but anyway, they're motherless, so, they're there without parents, so Shryke and her brother go back to Padre, and the big grand reveal, literally in slow motion, of who Padre is it Shrike's brother. So Padre is just the two of them. It's two kids running a group of kids. They explain it, which I thought was pretty interesting, and I thought it was a good plot twist, to be fair, but they explain it in such a way that they didn't want to explain to the kids there that all their parents died, so what they did was basically say that they are still out and they're still on a mission, and they've been lying to the kids ever since to try to make them comfortable and try to make it sound better, but in reality their parents are just dead. So that's the big reveal of this episode, specifically that Padre isn't one person, it's Shryke and her brother, and the fact that this whole time they're just lying because the parents are dead, and that's why they have to bring in the kids. I still think the general idea of Shryke and her brother bringing in the kids outside to bring them there doesn't make any sense, especially as a recruitment. I think that's a little bit goofy, but I will say I really did like the plot twist here, because I know a lot of people online were thinking that this was going to be Troy Otto coming back, or Troy whatever his last name is, from the early days, and how he's going to come back from the dead to be Padre. I'm so glad that wasn't the case, because if it was, I would have hated this episode so much. I'm glad we didn't get that here. I'm glad the twist was genuinely kind of good. For Fear the Walking Dead, I thought it was a fitting twist. I really did. I didn't have any sort of issue with them going that direction with it. It was nice to see. I actually did honestly like the storytelling in this episode. Again, it's Fear the Walking Dead, so I didn't think it was anything incredible, but there was a lot of little moments in this episode that I did like. I liked things like Madison and June interacting in the beginning of this episode. I liked moments of them two when they're talking about Nick and Alicia and like how they were before they died and stuff like that, and June's like, you wouldn't have recognized them. I liked those conversations. I also really much liked the conversations between Dan and Madison. Specifically, I thought some of their stuff of them catching up was interesting. The one thing that I thought was a little goofy with that is Charlie, who I loathe Charlie as a character, but apparently she just died off screen, or so they think. Madison doesn't seem to think so, but Dan seems to think so. They never fully said she's dead, but it was kind of like an off-screen death, especially if you consider in season 7 and her radiation poisoning and stuff like that. I guess this was a confirmation. We didn't see her in the trailers or anything like that. I don't give a shit. I don't like Charlie. I wish Charlie would have died a long time ago, personally, but whatever. So I liked those moments. I also liked the flashback story with Shryke and her brother. I thought the way they told it and the way it came together was really nice. And again, like I said, I liked the reveal. I thought it was a nice little plot twist that it turns out that it was just some random dude who was, who was the person in charge of Padre. I thought that was really nice. But overall, this episode, out of the 3 episodes that we've seen in Fear the Walking Dead, I would say this is probably my favorite one. I liked this one more than episode 2, and I like this one way more than episode 1. So if I had to rank this one on a scale, this one would be probably like a B tier episode for Fear the Walking Dead. I'm not going to say it's anything fantastic, but I did like the reveals here. I liked the interactions we got with Madison, and overall, I thought that this episode was a step in the right direction. Now, this one was kind of like a placeholder because episode 4 and the trailer for that look honestly fantastic, and I can't wait to see what that episode brings because it's going to be a Morgan-centric episode. It looks like we have them going back to King County. We could be wrong. I don't know, but what it looks like we saw in the trailer was maybe Jenny's corpse. I think. So we may be getting a little bit of a storyline of him back in King County, seeing his old house, seeing where he went into clear mode. And if that is what happens, I'm very much looking forward to that. I can't wait. Honestly, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I can't wait for that one because I think it's going to give us some closure on the canon storyline. Maybe we're going to learn a little bit more about what happened with Dwayne, because all we know was when Dwayne apparently died is Morgan just saw red, and he just saw red, which we know is anger. So I'm interested to see if they spruce that up a little bit and tell a little bit more of a story there. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But overall, generally speaking, this was my favorite so far episode. And again, so far, because this is a 12 episode run in season 8. So out of all of them, so far, this is my favorite. I think there's probably going to be better ones out there than this. But again, this is like a B tier episode for Fear the Walking Dead. Again, this isn't like Prime TV, nothing special, but for Fear, this one was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was okay. It was the best out of the 3, at least in my opinion. But yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode. I'm really interested to hear down in the comments down below. Oh, and by the way, Finch is alive. We saw a little bit of that. I can't wait to see what comes with that. That is interesting. But yeah, regardless, even with that, let me know what you thought about Finch. Let me know what you thought about Dan coming back. Let me know what you thought about the storyline overall, especially with the twist of who Padre is and things like that. I can't wait to start an open conversation down there in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to give it a like rating and subscribe for more Fear the Walking Dead reviews and more other show reviews. I'm watching Succession. Unfortunately, Succession's episode came out today as well, so I'm going to be a little bit busy with that. I love that show, and I have a ton of videos coming out about that. But yeah, with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video, and until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out.